Hello everybody and welcome back to another round of the League Zero Super Formula Championship here this time from Catalunya. We are just 3 rounds away from the end of our season now with Barcelona this week, Zandvoort next week and Monza the week after that to crown our champion. Getting very, very close now and I'm getting more of an idea every week as to who is going to win this title, and with every week that passes, Adam Merchant certainly seems to be pulling further and further ahead. It is myself, Ewan, and Dean Biggles with you again on this older version of Barcelona Catalunya these days, because we're using the tighter final sector at this venue instead of the more flowing final 2 turns which we normally get. Interesting choice there, Biggles, that we've gone for that slower chicane. I'm sure it's not a driver's favourite, this slower chicane. They much rather those faster 2 final turns. But that's what they've got to deal with here tonight, a very, very twisty Barcelona circuit.
I didn't even know that, actually, until you told me that. So thank you very much for alerting me on this circuit format here this evening. And welcome everybody, of course, that's tuning in. As it looks like Fitzsimmons about to go quicker. We've got that little glimmer of light there. That is the reflection of each of the water droplets that's on the track there for some reason. On my iRacing display to you at home there, just looks like it's twinkle, twinkle, little star.
It certainly does look like Fitzsimmons as well is going to improve in this lap time, and he does. Wow, that's a big lap time compared to the rest. Nearly a second faster than the rest of the field. Merchant, who's in second place, is looking very, very good indeed for him. As up towards the line as well for Merchant. He's not going to get anywhere near that lap time with just a few minutes to go. Let's just show you where the championship standings are looking at the moment, because it is very much in Adam Merchant's favour by some distance now. 78 points, his current advantage over Jaden Callaway. Noddy Amel not here again, so it looks like his championship charge is over, and Callaway is the only one who can stay with him at least at the end of today. If he is further than 96 points behind at the start of next week's race, then he will be out of championship contention, and we will crown Merchant our champion with still 2 weeks to go. I seem to think that's slightly unlikely, actually, with Callaway right there, but you just never know what is going to happen in this series. Callaway gained 2 points on Merchant last week at Mugello, for reference. Just to go a bit further down quickly, Noddy Amel still third. He's got a bit of a gap to Fabian Sanchez, and only just ahead of Elliot Cutt and Philly Fitzsimmons, who lost a couple of positions in last week's race. Anthony Bianchi, Sergio Zuhair, Frankie Brzezowski and AJ Brennan round out the top 10. They're all very close because of the point system, which does reward finishing rather well in this series. Actually, not too many points available, which weirdly does reward better placing in the race. So that's a good thing for everybody. As Fitzsimmons I thought he was going to extend his advantage, but doesn't quite in the overall for the moment. So holds just 8/10 of a second ahead of Zuhair. But on board through this final sector now, you can start to see the slipping and sliding that's taking place here from a couple of these drivers. Zuhair still with the treaded tyres, as you can see, but a couple of drivers, I think, are trialling the dry tyres now. I think it is probably still just a bit too wet, even though it's not, very wet on the circuit. It's probably a bit too wet for it for the dry tyres to really work.
Well, the qualifying's over at the moment, so I didn't get a chance to go out there and put a lap time on them. Interesting to see how the actual the forecast conditions is going to come over to our race day now, my friend. Here we go, the grid.
Yeah, does it change, or is it the same conditions, slightly wet as before? And what tyres do they go for? Fitzsimmons, though, has taken the pole ahead of Sergio Zuhair and Adam Merchant, the only other 2 drivers within a second of it. Elliot Cutt is 4th ahead of Jaden Callaway, who just needs to gain some points on Merchant today. Leo Delmap, who's then in 6th place, 2 seconds back, with Jace Meyer in 7th ahead of Elliot Rolls. Gabriel Hopp and Javier Soneva round out the top 10, with Robert Nobles and AJ Brenner then on row 6. It's 13th for Anthony Zeitz with Guillermo Paré next. Fabian Sanchez is all the way down in 15th for the driver, 4th in the standings. He is ahead of Nick Peterson with Nicholas Isidro and Aaron Gosler on row 9. Gareth McAllister and John Stumbro round out the top 20 with Arturo Mayorga and Antonio Bianchi on row 11. Austin Thomas and James Turnbull round out the 24 drivers in the field, although the final 3 of those didn't set times. Thomas is the only one of them to actually be on the grid so far, with just a minute of the gridding process done. Everybody, as far as it looks like to me, going for the wet tyres, but how long are they going to last? Because it's not looking very wet out there, I've got to say.
Just going to try to pull up that up at the moment there to let everybody know what the tyre compound is. And there it is so far from selected. Now, they're changing their minds on those ones at the moment.
Yeah.
If they're going to be going to dries or wet, we're waiting on that. That's the selection that the drivers will have to do. Here's our weather condition currently at the moment. So we're looking at slightly wet, 18 conditions for the track temperature. Celsius, that is, of course, on the overcast conditions. And there's a change of mind there with some of the drivers. We're still waiting on Sergio. What a good qualifying performance, too, for the Canadian driver. We did see some incidents made. Dry tyres switch over. Who for Fitzy?
Ow.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah.
That is a big call from the pole sitter. And he's got nothing to lose. He's not involved in the championship, so I'm not surprised Merchant and Callaway, the two that are, have gone for the wet tyres, because that is the safe call. But Fitzsimmons has gone to the dries, and so have a few further behind. Seneva's actually missed the boat here because he's been so indecisive. As the lights come on here from Barcelona, what's going to happen? Fitzsimmons is going to get eaten alive initially, surely, as the spray's kicked up and through the middle goes Merchant. Look at this, free wide in the wet conditions. One of them's on dry tyres. Fitzsimmons squeezed to the outside. It's nearly four wide. Oh, and this car! No! Fitzsimmons goes off and Merchant's off as well. The championship leader's off in one. Fitzsimmons crashes hard into the turn one barriers, and the championship leader Adam Merchant is also out of this race as he crashes on the way towards turn one. They both tow back to pit lane. It's a huge accident to start this race.
That's massive, absolutely, as you said there. So the gamble has not paid off for Fitzy, at least at the moment there. And of course, Adam Merchant, he is down and out. We'll have a look at the replay very soon what happened to that. But 3 into 1 was almost going to be 4 into 1.
Yeah, it was.
Have a look at
let's
this.
say it again. Elliot Court is the one looking down the inside, but he doesn't cause it. Merchant, for me, comes across on Fitzsimmons, who goes right into the air. My word. It's like, was it Montoya all those years ago at Australia, who went straight over the back of somebody in towards turn number 1? That's very similar, it seems to me. Oh, look at the air he gets there. He completely collapses Merchant's front left suspension, as you can see there as well. Merchant goes straight on into the turn 1 barrier as well.
Yeah.
2 huge contenders in this race out in race 1. That is absolutely massive.
And so far at the back, we'll keep an eye on those drivers. Elliot Rolls, AJ and Gareth McAllister all dropping to the... actually, come think of it, at the moment, we've got a little bit of a spin there for Bianchi. I'm just keeping an eye on those drivers too at the back there to see whether or not the conditions are good. But guess what? Sajay is in the lead at the moment. He's got Elliot Court wanting to steal that one. Elliot Court can't make it. Stick down the inside. Goes a little loosey-goosey on the rear end. Just doesn't stick. The 23 is going to be a suppression right now from Callaway. Zooms on by.
Oh. Yeah, and you just wonder, with these guys on wet struggling this much, what are the guys on dries feeling? And I'm afraid they haven't even made it to the end of the first lap yet. That is how far they are behind. I absolutely respect the risk they've taken. Oh, and AJ Brett is persisting with it as well. I respect the risk they've taken here because it was a big risk. And, it's raining again. That's not what they were expecting.
No.
And that's vindicated the wet tyre runners, it looks like, here to begin this race as Brett gets a black flag or something there. But anyway, they've taken a big risk. And as I say, absolutely respect them for that. But unfortunately, on this occasion, it's either hero or zero, isn't it, in those situations? And unfortunately, today, they are not the heroes.
Yeah, at the back too, sometimes you could gamble it because, you're not really going to be causing a massive problem. Let's say with those drivers, that example, if you're starting in up the front. And that's what we did see, of course, in that late little switch there earlier too with Fitzsimmons switching it over to the dry tyres and, of course, just couldn't get out of that traction down into the turn 1 incident. You just want to wonder how many more corners he would have been able to go too before there would have been some incidents, as you can see the car lifting up there from Leo Demar. Jeez, these things are light.
Delmar right on the... Oh, and he's got the push to pass there as Gabriel Hopp. He's going to be straight through here. Straight on the button and straight through on the way down towards turn number 1 for the Brazilian. So that's nicely done. As Delmar looks to... Well, he's still on the cool down, so he can't use any. Down towards turn number 1, and Gabriel Hopp goes straight through. He's into 4th place. Callaway up in front is ahead of Elliot Court, by the way. And in this race, that would get him 12 points. If he can get the fastest lap, there'd be a bonus there. But Suzette is looking pretty strong. This is Zeitz, who was, by the way, initially on dry tyres on the grid. But one of those that you were commenting on earlier, there was a few drivers popping on and off the grid, changing tyre compound each time. Anthony Zeitz eventually made the right call.
at that point, because you also got there's a bit of kitty litter kicked up on the track as well, too, just to add a little bit more drama to try to deal with here in this circuit. They probably had a look at that last minute forecast there and saw that this rain creeping in right now, which is a situation that would have made things worse. If it would have dried up on that track, perhaps that might have been. You can see the sun's out too, so you can understand it's a bit of a gamble. We're going to go currently up at the moment to Elliott Court. It looks like he's going to bring it here currently to Jaden Holloway.
Yeah, and by the way, Callaway cannot lose, well, unless he scores no points in this race either, he can't lose the championship. Well, no, actually, that's not even true. No matter what happens now, with Merchant very likely to not score any points, Merchant can't seal the title tonight. He'll have to wait until next week or maybe the week after that. Callaway's going to keep it alive with that crash for Merchant as Court is on the button here. He's getting closer. Look at that, 3 minutes to use with just about 6 laps to go. Inside he goes. He breaks early and he locks up. He gets very loose on the way towards turn 1 and takes the push to pass off immediately. He can't use it to get past Callaway this time.
Very difficult in these conditions as well, too. On a dry track, yeah, granted, but in a wet condition, you're going to be braking a lot earlier, and you've got to overtake extra kilowatt power at your right foot for disposal. So that's going to be catching some of these drivers off guard there. You can see, once again, that kitty litter kicked up on the track there. But, he's flying into a corner, hoping that the car's going to stop trying to make an overtake as well, too. Not quite getting it done there.
Dear.
I think Callaway was pretty much wised up to that.
We've got gravel confetti again. It's another one of those circuits, it looks like. It's not quite like Manicourt, where the gravel on the circuit actually contributes to more people going in the gravel and more people on the off the circuit. But look at the stones, dear, oh dear. It's all over the place. Good evening, by the way, to everyone watching along. There's been a few people chatting away. Noddy ML has seemed to be chatting away. Unfortunately that he's not here tonight. Says he would have loved the rain, but he's not here, very unfortunately for him, as Jason Meyer goes off through turn 9. Looks like a spin without contact with the barriers from this angle. So he will get back going again, although he'll be outside the top 15 when he does. JT as well, chatting away, along with Adam Merchant as well. If you wouldn't mind popping in for a chat, Adam, we'd like to hear from you about that very short-lived race. Oh, that's a classic painted surface curb moment for Jason Meyer, who fortunately doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, just probably it doesn't flick up any of the more stones onto the track as well. But of course, yes, you're welcome to come in there as a driver and please let us know. Look at the spray, of course. What the driver sees is this. Hopefully, a blinking red light to let you know that there's a car right there in front of you. And for Nick Peterson, that's Nicholas.
It's not very clear, is it? Well, not as unclear as it was when the rain first came out, it must be said, where it was impossible to see the red light. But this is where the halo does become a little bit of a problem. We don't talk about it too much because it's not really an issue. When you're spectating like this, you do look directly ahead, and so you think, well, that is in the way, isn't it? But actually, as a driver, you're not looking directly ahead like that very often. But actually, this is maybe one of the occasions where you are trying to look directly ahead, and you can't see that red light if it's being blocked by the halo.
What you can see at the moment is a Sauber livery of Antonio Bianchi going around. Another victim here this evening of the horrible rain conditions that they're having. Well, not horrible, but at least the wet weather conditions that you're having here in España.
So he goes for a look. And spins into somebody on the outside there, just Bianchi. As he was heading down the inside of turn 5 there. And... we've also got Gareth McAllister stopped. He's still on the dries. So, is that true?
Yeah.
No, he is on the wets. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Excuse me. He did start on the dries, but I think he's just stopped to let a few people through.
Has he? Yeah. I think you're right. I think he's just struggling a little bit here, and he's just parked it off to the side at the moment. That's very, very good on McAllister to do that. We've seen him come through in races of attrition before in the past, haven't we? And get himself good results. So perhaps he could be doing that again. He's currently 16th in this race, and he's lapping the last lap was about a minute slower than everybody else in the field. So he's still in it to win it. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Even if you're not going to be the quickest out there this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get yourself to the finish, let's get yourself a point for being there. So, he will soldier on. Let's, in the meantime, while we're watching this battle for 7th place, have a chat to Adam Merchant who was involved in that lap 1 crash, of course, and is currently sat down on pit lane. Adam, welcome in. Good to have you with us, although, again, not in these circumstances. We would have liked to see you out on the racetrack, of course. But tell us about that run towards turn of 1 and that lap 1 incident for yourself.
Yeah, it was a little tough. I think I had a pretty good launch, and I saw Finley switch to the dries with like 20 seconds to go on the grid. So I knew there was potential for him not to have a great start. There was a gap in the middle, and then I thought we were 3 wide, and it felt like Shaji kind of moved to the left a little bit. But I thought it was negligible. But at the end, Finley had to brake on the curbs, and there's no grip out there in the wet. So we made contact, and that was the end of both of our races.
In fairness, now I've seen the onboard there. You were squeezed a bit more than I initially thought, actually, on the way towards turn 1. But, always going to be difficult 3 wide into turn 1. What were the conditions actually like on the on that start there in terms of the decision between dries and wets? Was it a very obvious call for you on the grid there?
I thought it was definitely going to be a wet tire race. It would have been interesting to see how Finley panned out. The conditions seemed very comparable to qualifying, and that felt like a wet tire situation as well. So, based off that, my gut instinct was wet. But the track hopefully will dry up a little bit more, but it's fun to race in the wet, but can't complain.
Yeah, how are you expecting the conditions to actually change over the course of the second race, especially with it being longer and maybe having to incorporate a switch to dries into the whole strategy of the race?
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. The sim says for the next 30 minutes there will be 0 precipitation, and then it'll pick up again. So it depends how much time passes between the first and second race. So it's possible that the track could naturally dry out, but not many cars will be on it. So rain will pick up again, so potentially dry to wet, but we'll see how the conditions pan out.
Certainly. Well, I'll let you get ready. There's only a couple of laps of this first race remaining now, but thanks for chatting to us midway through, Adam, and good luck for the second one.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's Adam Merchant there chatting to us at the end of that first race. For him tonight, unfortunately, he has still got a meatball, which suggests that the repairs are still going on down there. Never mind the optionals that he'll no doubt have. He's not even cleared the required repairs yet, and neither, to be fair, is Finley Fitzsimmons or Elliot Rolls, who both started on dry tyres, did the Brits. They're all going to have to start from the back of the field. We all see this, Biggles. Some big names start from the back of the field. Brenner also, AJ Brenner, shouldn't be down in 18th if you look at his pace as well over the course of this season. Down 6 compared to where he qualified in 12th. But, Fitzsimmons and Merchant are going to be the big ones to watch come through the field in this second race of the day.
He's burning that push to pass too at the moment, Callaway, to try to get his way past Elliot Court in the dying stages. The race has gone off a little bit wide. That's going to allow Callaway to come through, so that pressure has worked. Both of them using the push to pass, of course. Elliot Court, you can see, has a slowdown of that little yellow flag that's next to their name. There could be contact here at the moment here. This is not a battle for. It is actually a position. For Sajay's got a slowdown here. Something's gone wrong here. All of a sudden, that lead he's got under massive pressure.
Yeah, and he's not using the push to pass, whereas Callaway has got it for the rest of the race here. After applying it on the front straight last time round, he's going to have a better exit. He needs to manage the power, the throttle control through the final corner, but he's going to be very close, and Zuhair's going to be on the button as well. They're all going to be racing each other on the way towards turn 1, with Elliot Court just hoping for drama in front. The final lap of the first race of the night here at Barcelona. They're side by side into turn 1. He breaks late to Callaway. Is it too late? Does he get it pulled up in time? He does. Oh, how important could that be as he races round the outside and into the race lead on the very last lap of the race?
Wow. I did think that Sajay had this one in the bag there, but maybe a little slight mistake there that creeped in. We didn't quite catch in the picture, but he's got to be careful he doesn't lose. Currently, P2 here. Elliot Court around the outside. Wow, that's bold and brave. You can see the kitty litter kicked up. It turns to the inside here at the moment. This is not over yet on the last lap of our first heat race.
And a switch back from Zuhair maybe to look back down the inside again, and no. So Court is draining this battery right to the end. Oh, when he's going to get back through his Court. Oh, my word, look at the gravel as they get on to turn 8 there. Through, side by side, through 9. Round the outside for Zuhair, he's going to be pushed onto the curb. He just makes sure that he isn't. This is going to allow Callaway to race away with the victory. But it's later on the brakes from Court on the outside line. Zuhair's still stuck on the inside, and it's through for Court into second position. That is a very good move for him. Zuhair dropped to third place. A big disappointment, really, after running so well for so long there. It's only going to be his third top 5 finish, though, of the season, so I guess he's got to be pretty pleased with it. Either way, Jaden Callaway is going to come out the final corner to take victory here in the first race of the day. Can he maybe get the extra point for fastest lap as well as he races over the line? No. With the push to pass, no, he won't. He will just take the 15 points away from Merchant. He will gain 15. He will now be 63 behind going into the next race.
So we have a few more of the drivers making their way across what's to be, and an interesting first race. A bit of a gamble, of course, some of those drivers are taken. We just heard as well, too, from Merchant. And Fitzsimmons we haven't spoken to, but, of course, he's out DNF'd on this first race, too. So what's going to happen when it all pans out here for our feature race coming up? We'll see if we can get a little glimpse of the radar as well, too, that iRacing do provide. I'll have to apologise because it'll put the overlay up. It doesn't look that pretty for us, but at least gives us a little bit of an indicator of those clouds in the weather band, as we've just seen a few more drivers that have just managed to somehow bring it home. Look at this. Blanchard's like, I don't need that rear wing, my friend. Oh! And he'll slide his way across the line anyway, just to get himself a P14.
Yep. Well, there we go. They all just about get to the finish. Some more battered and bruised than others, though, it must be said, at the end of race 1 tonight. As they go into a warm-up session, we'll have a look at the race results from that first one. It's Jaden Callaway who wins in the end with that last lap pass. Elliot Court also getting past Sergi Zuhair, who got onto the last lap in the lead, of course. Gabriel Hopp got up to 4th in the end of Leo Delmat, with a bit of a gap back to Robert Nobles. Fabian Sanchez, a bit of a gap back as well. Nick Peterson, Xavier Seneven, Aaron Gosler then round out the top 10. Bit of a gap between Seneven and Gosler there. Andy Zeitz outside the top 10 there, ahead of Jace Meyer and John Stumbrat, inside a minute of the victory. Antonio Bianchi, that last driver across the line on the lead lap, as we just saw. Isidore had a late crash there, finished a lap down with McAllister 2 down after starting on the wrong tyres. And the crashes from that one: Guillermo Parry, AJ Brennett, Finley Fitzsimmons, Elliot Rolls, and a few others as well. Adam Merchant was in there, along with Austin Thomas, Arturo Mayorga and James Turnbull, who didn't start the race, it seems to me, after that first one. But yeah, what an opening race that was. I'm not sure when the best time to look at the radar is, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure how much of the session is going to jump forward between the warm-up and the second race.
That's very, very true, isn't it? We can basically show you just here on the screen. You can see this weather band that's coming through. Look at that. So it's showing me at the moment. You can see that's racing time, of course, 10:21. And then we go for 9 minutes, obviously, and then we'll look at that band coming in. So we're going to zoom in the track. You can't really see much at the moment because you can see in your pictures there's no rain coming down, but it's to be expected. I don't think anybody, Ewan, will risk starting this race on dry tyres.
No, because I don't even think it's dry tyre weather now when it's not raining. Never mind when the rain starts to arrive in a few moments' time. You're going to end up pitting for wet tyres, and everyone will have to make a pit stop in race 2 anyway. However, it's less ideal to do the whole race effectively on those set of tyres. There you can see the schedule for the season, and we've got 28 laps for a second race of the day here today. Next week is Zandvoort. A lot of laps there, 32 for race 2. Will be the most we've had since the Red Bull Ring, which feels like an age ago now, a lifetime ago. And Monza will be our finale as well. But very interesting conditions to have here at Barcelona for the final race. The ninth race, I should say, of the season. The third final race of the calendar season. And yeah, we'll see how they get on over the course of the second race. But weather always just throws up something different, doesn't it? Something else to think about here for these drivers. And I guess, unfortunately, we're not going to have that dry to wet transition, actually, and it's just going to be wet weather conditions. But that might provide us with the entertainment within itself. But we don't have that close decision anymore, I don't think, between whether the dries or the wets would be the call to have off the start here.
Yeah, well, this is kind of thing what everybody wants in a Formula 1 race, of course, too. Otherwise, it turns into a snowfest. But thankfully we have the virtual world where things are a lot more exciting. See the front lockup on that front left tire as well too. Good thing in the model, in the iRacing, it actually shows you the top, the tire completely stopping. Most of the time we see that little puff of smoke that you're not going to see it's on a wet track, but you'll see it lock up. He's pushing this at the moment, Fitzsimmons, because remember he didn't get any laps under his belt for the racing conditions, only for a great qualifying position that he did earlier. Now he's one of the only a selected handful of drivers that are out there at the moment getting some practice in these conditions. But what will happen, obviously, Ewan, is that the track could get a lot wetter than what it is. One thing it won't probably get is dry, as you mentioned, but how wet will it be and how tricky will it be?
Yeah, and you saw on that scale there, the radar that we showed, that it does have the potential to get heavier than the just sort of light standard rain that is looking like it's going to... oh, there's absolutely everything on the screen. You can see the sort of green and the yellowish colour is it's more severe rain. So we've seen sort of, I think the biggest we saw so far was like 17% intensity or something like that. In the bands of yellow, you can get sort of 50%, and that can get very, very heavy indeed. So we're not seeing very much time being skipped between the sessions, between warm-up, which we're about to end right now, and the second race. We saw it with the first race to the qualifying session to the first race. Really not much time actually advances. So yeah, it's going to be starting right in the middle of that rainstorm, I would say.
And one thing I noticed as well, too, is you'll look at what's key is the wind. The wind slows down drastically, which means that band that you see coming in will slowly start approaching, not so drastically quick. The wind starts picking up a little bit later on, but will we get that deep into the race? We shall find out. Probably not get into that late racing time. But one thing, we've got a grid.
Yeah, well, I'll just read through the top 5 who have been reversed, of course, in our reverse top 5 as we always have. Leo Delmat on the pole ahead of Gabriel Hopp with Saji Zuhair, Elliot Cook and Jen Callaway, with the rest of the field all exactly where they were at the end of race number 1. So I won't read them out again. You can see them on your screen there all the way through, right the way back to James Turnbull and Arturo Mayorga, who I'm not sure will start the race. I don't think they started the first one, but Merchant going to be a huge one to watch in this second race of the day, as everybody gets on the wet tyres, nobody making the same mistake this time. I don't think, having said that, McAllister and Thomas did go out on the dries initially before they're back in now, and hopefully they will make the right call here, which I believe to be the wet tyres.
Now, hopefully we get a camera angle that can show us the right racing start there, Ewan. Here we go.
Yeah, so Nave again's deciding to start from pit lane, just as he did in race 1. And it looks like Zeitz has gone for the dry tyres early here. Oh, it's a slow start from Delmat as the lights go out here from Barcelona. He has immediately lost the lead to Gabriel Hopp, who might do something similar to what happened at Spa as the spray kicked up in towards turn number 1. Is it going to be such a dramatic start as last time? In towards turn number 1, not quite, as wide for Delmat as well. He's going to get a slowdown. And Elliot Cook is going to go straight through into second position, with Zuhair also trying to get through, and Callaway as well, who hasn't made up any places yet off of this start, and he won't make any places in the first sector. Now though, he gets alongside Zuhair, and he goes right round the outside through turn 4. This gives him the inside at 5, and surely gives him the place for good now. He will turn down below. No, still on the outside. Zuhair fights back, and they're still side by side. Coming into the middle sector, and Callaway has to back out finally.
Yeah, he's going to go pretty wide at the outside there. Sorry, Sajay will. And I'll tell you what, Fitzsimmons is already up 8 places currently in a moment.
Wow.
Make that mark could very much be 9 in a minute as he's slicing and dicing his way through the field there. So a bit of practice there during the 5-minute warm-up is making a big difference. I'll take 2 for 1 special here, my friend. Whoa, that'll be bold and brave. Oh, that's going to be a spinner. He's got contact.
There was contact, and Merchant there. Oh dear, there's cars with wheels off and all sorts. Brenner's damaged for the second time tonight. McAllister as well as John Stumbra as well. That might be the end for a few further down the field, and hopefully Merchant didn't get caught up in that. Oh, he did. Merchant's got no rear wing. Got no rear wing. He's been hit by somebody here in this big stack up down at turn 10. How did it happen? This is Brenner, who's quite a long way back,
Dang.
really. He'll just arrive and drive straight into them. And one of those rear wings is Adam Merchant's.
Yeah, there he is here, currently at the moment. No rear wing. Elliot Rolls and Jace Meyer. Side-by-side contact. Oh, gentlemen, it's tricky enough with those conditions. I wouldn't be door banging.
Oh.
If you want to get past.
I just came straight back on the circuit, straight into the side of Rolls there. But, yeah, difficult enough to do that in the dry. In the wet conditions, that was almost impossible.
I was going to say, we still have a long race here, gentlemen. I wouldn't be getting your elbows out that much, just that, to get an overtake just yet. The track itself is going to be your worst enemy, as Leo Damasque said. This is exactly what it is. This is why you don't need to get your elbows out necessarily to get some overtakes. The track itself will sort that out for you.
Yeah, and it looks like it will in most cases. Stelmar goes off, and Bianchi now puts the pressure onto Fitzsimmons, who has stayed out of trouble very well so far. That's why he's up to 8th position already. And Merchant is languishing down in 12th place because he did get caught up in an incident down here at turn 10. So this is he's going unbelievable. This is slow-mo, but he's going unbelievably slowly because he was the only one on dries in the first part of the race. He towed back to pit lane and I think has since retired. This is another view of the crash. This is, I think, going to be the driver who actually takes Merchant's rear wing off, Robert Nobles. Let's see.
Yeah.
No, it's not, of course. He's the one who gets spun around, I should say, by somebody. That's Fitzsimmons. And then there's Merchant, who slows down, and there is the contact. There you go. That takes his rear wing off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look from Merchant's point of view real quick, too, as well. He's just going to see nothing but spray and then stopped cars on the track in a second. Where do you go at this point, But you went to go left to avoid it and then didn't realize there's a car there. That's a little bump at the back there. Back to live pictures.
Yeah.
Fitzsimmons on the back there, Peterson.
He's going to go into 7th. Well, not so easily. The outside is a very good defending tool in the wet weather, and you see it being used there, but Fitzsimmons on the inside. There you go. The outside into that corner, not as good. And spins on his own gravel, and there's contact! Contact with Elliot Rolls, was that? I'm not sure. Sorry, Elliot Rolls is off separately there. And Merchant gains 2 places out of that, even despite his lack of a rear wing, he's still going. And, that was all very messy. Down into turn 8, 7 and 8, as now Paré looks on the outside of Elliot Rolls, recovering after that trip through the gravel. Paré can't quite get through into turn 10, but that was very lively into turn 7. And here we go again with Elliot Cook right behind Gabriel Hopp, looking for the rain lights. He's got enough space to slip to the inside. He's got enough speed to take the fastest lap. And he goes down the inside, takes the race lead as well.
Makes it stop, which is more importantly as well, too. Approaching that corner at high speed with your push-to-pass button as well, too. Blanchie comes in for some damage, I would imagine there. Merchant definitely comes in for some damage. Repairs. A few of these drivers are going to be squabbling past them down pit road at the moment. Down into turn 1. Push-to-pass being used. No. That's a cool-down at the moment as the Argentine driver just holding in there in front of Austin Thomas. Both of these drivers up 7, 11, and 8. Behind him as well, too. Xavier. He's actually down.
Is down a few after the start of the race and looks down the inside. Thomas, it's straight off. Straight down the inside and straight off into turn 4, I'm afraid. Too late on the brakes, and there's some more gravel for everybody to enjoy at the exit of that corner as Elliot Cook extends his lead.
Something happened to Gabriel because he's gone from first place.
Oh, yeah.
This might have happened just a little bit before, but he's gone wide, and that's cost him. Elliot Court's gone through to the lead, and Callaway. Yeah,
so Court already made that pass into turn 1, and then Hopp cemented that position and lost second also to Jaden Callaway with that latest incident there. So just 4 laps gone, and Callaway's up to second place. If he can take a double win tonight, that would be a big step closer to Merchant, who has indeed taken that pit stop. He has dropped to 17th after 38 seconds stationary, repairing that rear wing.
Sajay's in. Now we'll have a look what he went off track. He only went off track for a little bit here. Well, this might have caused some damage. So this is what happened to Sajay a little bit earlier. That's just another off-track excursion, isn't it? Into the gravel. Now, why would they be doing those pit stops at the moment, would you think? The tyres couldn't possibly be burnt through just yet.
No. It's an interesting one. I think in some cases there's damage to be repaired, and maybe it's not even so obvious. It's obvious for Merchant. We can see that his damage needs repairing, and he has gone and done that. But the others, maybe there's some damage that we're not. And there's a bit of suspension damage I can see for Peterson actually as we're riding on board with him. Just a little bit of left hand down, so there might be some minor suspension damage going about that is just needing repairs, but. It's a little bit puzzling, and again, track position might be a thing here for some of these guys trying to win track position. Other than that, not really sure why there are so many drivers coming in so early. Zuhair seems to be a scheduled pit stop, only 7 seconds, but only 4 laps, and you're right, they can't be burning through the tyres this quickly.
Yeah, there has to be something like that we can't always necessarily see the damage on the cars. You can see the wheel spin coming out of that, and the braking. You see that little faint line that's obviously appearing behind the cars, usually, as you'd see. I don't see it so much there on Nick as well too, so as either controlling that wheel spin, there is a little bit there obviously on the exit, but see how there's a difference in the power? That's also maybe suspension damage potentially. Fitzsimmons is in. Now that's interesting. Now he could have, Fitzsimmons could have got front end damage because he did have a little tap, remember, into one of those drivers that spun earlier. It might not show up necessarily on the front wing, but Elliot Rolls is in. We know that he had a little off-track excursion. Austin Thomas is in now.
These are all very early stops, especially if this rain's going to intensify. You're going to want to save the new tyres for then, I would have said personally, but there you go. Fitzsimmons now gets rolling again. That was a little bit longer than normal. 20 seconds as opposed to just 11 for Rolls. And for Thomas, it is 12 seconds. So, yeah, that was a longer stop from Fitzsimmons, exactly as you say, repairing some front wing damage, you would imagine, from that incident when Nobles went for a spin earlier.
Just seeing Peterson's gone off an off-track excursion somewhere at the moment as well, too. So he is still struggling down one place from where he started this race. Elliot caught in the lead, but, however, he's up 3 for the number 23. Now, we don't expect a pit stop for these drivers to come in. You can see Bianchi and Robert Nobles are still in some repairs from that incident that we saw earlier. And this is time we're looking for a league to join out there. Absolutely. You can look at perhaps remaining a few more races in this League 0 remaining. But all the information in the descriptions below. Please check out the Discord and pop in and say g'day. Perhaps there'll be getting some racing in the league.
You're welcome to join. As you say, there's still 2 races of the season to go at Zandvoort and Monza in the next 2 weeks, and the link to register is very easy to find in the description of the video. As Sanchez and Chase Meyer both come in pit lane now.
Yeah.
Another couple of early stops here. They shouldn't be even halfway through their first stint of the race, but a lot of them are in the pit lane here.
And that's also difficult to spot your braking point for your pit box as well, too, when you've got 2 other cars sitting in pit lane doing no repairs. But he does it quite well, actually, for Sanchez. Didn't need to back up to find his wheelman. Gets the job done.
Yep, through and back and away again. So, that's a lot of very, very early stops. Only 7 drivers now out of the 22 that started have not made a pit stop yet, which is very unusual, I've got to say, at the beginning of one of these races. Normally you see them waiting at least to halfway. It's the most common time to pit, halfway, as you'd expect. Can't refuel in these super formulas, so you can only change tyres, but you do have to in the second race. And look at this, the battle being created because we are seeing these guys stay out on the circuit. Court, Callaway, Hop, 1, 2 and 3. Hop starting to join in now as Callaway gets closer. Not using any push to pass. I'd be surprised if he's used any so far, based on previous form we know from him. But he's certainly not using it this time. He doesn't go for it down towards turn 1.
Yeah, you can see him just sliding in the corner. Both those drivers doing it as well, too. Ellie Court did the same thing. Led him in now as well. So we're just a little puzzled up here in the booth as to some of these early pit stops as well. So it's interesting. Surely not all these drivers had any damage that they wanted to get repaired. Look at the power slide coming out of the corner. Elliott Court is trying to hold off a very fast Hayden Callaway at the moment. Both these drivers are up 3 places in this race. The reverse grid, top 10.
Yeah, don't forget that they did longer in the first race, so it's not like they're in uncharted territory with these tyres just yet. But this is when Callaway began to get stronger in the race, the first race. It was towards lap 8 and 9 where he seemed strongest, and now it's in that part of the race again where he's starting to flex his muscles. Although, having said that, Court is also being caught by Gabriel Hopp. So maybe it's not all down to Callaway this time round, because we've got 3 for the lead, and further behind Fitzsimmons, re-overtaking some drivers he went behind after his longer stop repairing his front wing.
We'll see whether or not he has changed those tyres, because Nicholas up the road here is still looking for a team. Hasn't. We do know Fitzsimmons is quite one of the quickest drivers on the track. He was proving that during qualifying, hasn't he, in similar conditions. So if Nicholas is going to put up a bit of a fight, but he's up the power down there, just can't get the traction.
And again, Callaway gets very close to Court, as well as this being very close towards turn 10. Fitzsimmons goes down the inside and can't quite get the job completely done yet on his road, but he will now through turn 11. That's a bit of a battle killer, that sharp left-hander there. As Callaway again close behind Court, and he didn't use any push to pass, so he's still conserving that, and not made the pass for the lead on the very lap that he took the race win, of course, in race 1 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, didn't it? He just bid his time and waited for the right time to actually shine in the cloudy conditions here in Spain. Oof, look at that, let's get close. That's all that kitty litter to the right-hand side that we know that's been kicked up for quite some time now, and drivers are avoiding it, says Court. Oh, he avoids the barrier. No, front end damage. Gabriel will go through. How much time does he have? 32 seconds down the road from Xavier, so might be enough. And if he was thinking about time for a pit stop, well, my friend, now is the time, because in tricky conditions like this, you need downforce, and without a front wing, you're in a bit of trouble.
He's got absolutely no choice. Elliott Court now. Jace Meyer, meantime, gets on the back of Sanchez and looks way quicker. What's going on here? Looks down the inside. He will have to go through now. Turn 6. And he will just about get alongside. Sanchez round the outside and keeps 9th place on this occasion, but I'm not sure why these two look so different in terms of speed at the moment.
They're doing 142s in the mid-pack here, whereas up the front there, they're doing 39s and 40s, so a couple of seconds a lap slower. But this is going to be turning into a race of attrition, I would believe, as well, too. So right now, looking at 9th and 10th between these two drivers, that could very much turn into a top 5 if things go a little pearl-shaped for some of these other drivers up the front.
Well, Court drops behind Paré after his pit stop. Zuhair's going to be close, though, and that is a battle for position. Oh, sorry, that's Delmar close to Zuhair, so they are battling away, having both stopped, and Delmar goes straight off the road at turn 1. Well, bobbles over the curbs hard there, but we'll have a slowdown. Zuhair will go straight through. Oh, and contact. You can see the front wing tweak.
Yeah.
That was definite contact, and again, you cannot afford that. If these guys have been stopping to get rid of the damage, there's no point getting some more.
Stop that.
Isidro, way too late. He's going to hit the wall. It's the end of the day for Nicholas Isidro, who breaks too late at turn 1 and is out.
Yeah, I was looking at that speed coming through there. I thought, there's no way you're going to make it stop, mate. And, of course, the kitty litter's the only thing going to try to slow you down before you go into the barrier, which is unfortunately did. This I was talking about this race of attrition now, because, these two drivers that were battling it out, Sanchez and Meyer, well, they've just gained another place just by being out on the track. Even if they are going to be 5 seconds a lap slower than the leaders at the moment, they're still gaining positions because it's a race of attrition. Fitzsimmons
gets
Leo
past
Demar.
Delmat.
Yeah.
Maybe the damage is quite bad for the Frenchman as Fitzsimmons gets through. Delmat, only a small tweak to the front wing. We saw it with that camera shot perfectly, but maybe it's affecting really badly the front end damage, and it just looked like it's understeering quite a lot, so maybe he's going to be in again here.
Yeah, he's struggling big time. Look at that. Full steering lock at the moment. Just can't get anything here. He's going in.
Oh, he's going to go straight on. Oh, wow, that was close as well. He hit a puddle there. I was sure he was going to go straight on into the barrier. But stops in time for the pit limiter.
Change for a lead here.
He keeps it. Oh, meantime, Callaway has got ahead of Hop, who's really putting pressure on him here for through turn 9. Hop on the outside line going towards the hairpin at turn 10. Callaway's broken quite late, but he stops it in time, or does he? Hop goes for the up and under. He's back to the inside, and he's through on the inside. Gabriel Hop leads this race ahead of Jaden Callaway.
Well, this is what you'd say for the Brazilians, isn't it? Because they're used to this kind of tropical downfall weather, but he makes a mistake, as I spoke too soon, unfortunately, and a spin. Now, he's got time. There's a 30-second gap to the Frenchman behind him, so no damage on that car. Just get back in his speed. You've got to be very cautious at the moment. His tyres are going to be absolutely chilled, or baked, actually. My apologies if he gets a spin into him. Callaway back into the lead of this race. Very lucky there for the Brazilian not to get any damage on that car. Just as I was talking up how great Brazilian drivers are in wet conditions, my friend, because they're used to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was quite well timed there, that comment, as he was spinning around seconds later and losing positions. He does have time left in the race. We've got 16 to go at the end of this one, but that's a big gap to cross now. 5 seconds as Zuhair gets onto the back of Harry. This is a driver who's stopped we're on board with, and a driver who hasn't stopped in front of us, and maybe you're seeing the tyre difference there as well. Zuhair's going to use a bit of push to pass to make absolutely sure of this one, and he will move into the top 5.
Yeah, good driver as well too for the Canadian in our race 1. Now this got more importantly, I'm always get frightened when I see those drivers approaching down into turn 1, of course, because your braking point will be a lot earlier this time around because of the tricky conditions, and because the track is evolving. So who just goes completely? Yeah, the Argentine goes completely off the track there. Fitzsimmons through up 13 now. As the track's evolving, of course, you're also having to adjust your braking points as well too. As Saji looks like he's going off the track there.
Yeah, he very nearly did through turn 4. It looked like.
Yeah,
and slides again through 5. So struggling now, and Fitzsimmons is going to take this position surely. Oh dear, snap even on the way towards 7, and that's way too late on the brakes from Zuhair. Straight on, he's almost found the wall there, which is almost quite impressive. He drops to 7th. That is a shame. He just went straight on,
and now you're going to get
and straight into the gravel trap.
Oh no, there it is. Yeah, once again, another driver struggling, big time. It just seems like all of a sudden, is this track just getting a lot more difficult to drive? Because let's see if it's a full lock here. Has to really lift off. Barely can touch the loud pedal, can he? Because otherwise the rear's just going to go around. It must feel like a second Red Bull driver trying to drive a Max Verstappen car these days.
Yeah. Well, Zuhair back on the circuit at least, and Callaway starting to pull away now.
Callaway, yeah. Well,
look at these conditions. These conditions are noticeably worse now with the rain falling. I'd like to see what the percentage is of rain falling, because I think it's definitely worse.
Oh yeah, we're getting into that patchy. I'll turn off the tower for a second so you can have a look at it. Yeah. Yeah, because
I didn't quite mean that. I meant the thing on the right-hand side where it says what percent it is. That doesn't say what percent is the...
I know what you mean.
I was trying to protect us from that overlay again, but anyway.
I don't like it, do you?
41% is the... That's what I mean. In the first race, it got maximum 17%. You know, we've got 2.5 times more rain falling now than we ever had in that first race. And you're seeing guys go off the road as a result. This is Gabriel Hop's third off in the last 3 laps.
Yeah. And is he it? Yeah, he's had a spin too. That's the reason why it's come up for a crash here. But yeah, we'll go back to that. He's running down in Gabriel's. Where is he now? Actually, I'm just trying to see. I'm all over the place. Second. Sorry, my apologies. Yep, there he is. Feels like the weather's creeped in here too, mate, friend.
He's a long way behind Callaway now, as Callaway starts the 14th lap of the race. He's actually, in fact, almost halfway around it already. He will get to the end of this one and maybe pit in the lane. I wonder whether it's been a recognised strategy from some of these other drivers to pit twice in this race, or whether it is purely damage related, because it can't be that only 3 drivers in the field haven't stopped yet, and that's purely on just damage. Paré now comes in just short of halfway, so this is tactical from him, of course, but it's his only first stop of the day. I wonder whether at lap 18 or so we're going to see a lot more drivers in for a second pit stop and a second tyre change.
I think you might be right on that. Yeah, absolutely. There's such big spreads out through the field that you could afford it if you feel those tyres are just going to be literally falling off a cliff at the moment, when you need as much possible traction as you can get, because those puddles, as you were seeing out there, were forming on the track out there, and they're the ones that you do want to avoid. You can see just gingerly exiting the corner to start lap 16 here for the Squid Gang Racing number 1 driver. Let's have a look. Braking point in turn 1.
Maybe we'll just carry on until he feels the tyres are no longer really with him, and then just sort of... Or maybe now's the moment then. That's a big slide through turn 2. And again, these conditions are just ever getting worse. And this is the smart thing that Callaway's done with this race. He has sort of got through the lighter periods of rain without burning through his tyres too much. And he's gotten to this heavier part now. He can sustain it for a while, but at some point he's going to come into the pit lane, and effectively he's going to have new wet tyres for the heavier rain that is coming and has been falling now for some time.
Yeah, that'll be absolutely key. That'll be key at the moment. When you go up to Fitzsimmons, it does get past Xavier just quite easily. You'd have to say Xavier says, I'm not going to fight that battle with you currently at the moment. I'm struggling just to keep this car on the track, as most of the drivers are. So smart play at the moment for the Frenchman. Just got to be, he's in a good place at the moment. He's a P4, but he knows that Fitzsimmons just loves his conditions a little bit more than him, and he says, all right, we'll choose your battle later on. Let the track be the enemy to the drivers, of course, because even Callaway is not safe. Nobody's safe in this race. You see him at the moment slipping and sliding over the place. One little snap, one little misjudgment, and you're off into the barriers. That could be race over. So you've got to keep your focus on. And as you said, my friend, just on halfway. Look at that for Merchant. Oh, that's going to hurt you back. He's having a
difficult night, and he bobbles right over the curb. He will have a slowdown after that and drops to 8th position. He needs to make sure, above all, that he doesn't have a crash here, because dropping to the back and retiring here would cost him quite a few points, even from 8th place, where he runs at the moment, as Jen Callaway smartly comes in now after lap 15.
Now, that'd be interesting. It just leaves the Brazilian out here of Gabriel. He has not come into pit road. Is he going to come in now? Yes, he will, actually. Oh, he's going to copy the same strategy. At the moment, that's a tough pit lane entrance in these conditions. Make it stop. You don't want to get a drive-through. Now, don't think it'll put Fitzsimmons to the lead, will it? But it will certainly get him up there, because he's coming down now. And that's exit out of pit road there with Callaway. But will he catch Hope? Hope's just started stopping in his box right now. So Fitzsimmons coming down will take P2.
Yeah, Sinead's going to take P3 pretty easily as well. Don't forget that Javier Seneva also hasn't pitted either, but he started from pit lane, so it's showing him making one pit stop, even though he hasn't. Not sure why he's carrying on, but either way, he is. Merchant still behind Meyer. It's with 13 to go when they get to the line, and, well, Meyer's a little bit wider through that first part of the chicane, and Merchant is going to look for a better exit as they go through the karting line, effectively around the outside of the final corner. Up towards the start-finish line again, and properly in the slipstream. Not using any push to pass on the way towards turn 1, trying to see what he's doing here. Don't forget, last lap he was down the inside and he was off the road at turn 1. This time he only has a look, but he can't get alongside.
Ooh, but there's a slip and a mistake. And will get the position now from Meyer. So just like
quite
that.
easily.
Yeah, mate, do you think at the moment if Meyer went a little bit too hot into the corner there and just couldn't quite stop it out of turn two or three, that's just interesting because you're worried about that driver and your spotter will be letting you know that driver's,
Off. Straight off there. He locked the wheel and you've got no turning or stopping when you're out like that. And look at the gravel now on the outside there. I know I say it every week now, but can't quite get over it sometimes. The difficulty of these conditions in the dry, but to add the wet into that as well is quite remarkable here, really. As Merchant gets him into 7th in Delmat, and Rolls battle for 10th place. Meantime, nearly through the gravel and around for Leo Delmat after contact with Elliot Rolls.
And in the very gravel we were talking about as well too. So just kick up a little bit more. That's actually going to put it just a little bit more on the racing line. So we do have a pit stop here for the Frenchman. He's going in at the moment. So it's certainly one thing. It's an exciting race. There's action all over the place. Elliot Rolls gets that Leo gets the black flag now, shown for that contact. That's a black flag. That's by iRacing that will give you that, because there's no live stewards in this race for that contact, my friend. So yeah, this is it. This is the interesting part now. Once again. Certainly, definitely not over. Big gaps, of course, sort of starting to spread throughout the field, but that could change very drastically in these conditions.
Well, yeah, if Callaway can keep it like this, he'd be very, very pleased indeed. But Merchant is gaining positions all the time. It could be a bit of a problem for him. And this is Aaron Gosler in towards turn 10. What's happened to him? Oh, he's very late on the brakes there. He's made the other layout. See, that would have been perfect for the layout there on the outside, but we're not using that here tonight. We're using the slower final chicane as it is. So with Merchant down in 6th place and Callaway in 1st, that'd be another 18 points going Callaway's way, and that would mean he's only 45 behind going into next week's race. This would be a real inroad when he absolutely needs it, Jaden Callaway.
I'm just wondering whether or not Fitzsimmons can hunt him down by the end of this race. 18 seconds, definitely doable, definitely enough time. You've got to be pushing, but, and we all know you're pushing on this track to the limits. You can make a slight little mistake. Sarjo's back on Elliott Court. These two are back battling it again, where they were battling it for P1, P2 earlier on this race, but now they're down in 4th and 5th. Still inside that top 5 is a good result. I just think finishing this race is a good result for all these drivers here this evening.
Yeah, it definitely is. As they make their way onto the front straight. That wasn't quite the exit that Zuhair was looking for, I don't think. And he's now actually pulling out of the slipstream to see where he's going. That's how bad the spray's got. You've got no idea where the driver in front of you is on the way towards turn number 1 here. 49 percent, I should say, of rain now. It's getting ever heavier. And these are just super, super difficult conditions. I would go as far to say the most difficult we've seen all season. We had a little bit of rain at the Red Bull Ring. You weren't there for that one, Biggles, but there was definitely rain there. I think that's the last time we had it, maybe, from memory. This, though, is nothing like that. It is super difficult. You can see just by the way they're sliding all over the place.
Gabriel might have had a little slight off-track moment. Leo Namar did as well, too. And McAllister. But I'm just wondering, this is the driver, of course, remember, in P3. They're just off into the kitty litter again, but thankfully gets it back onto the track there. Just loses some time to that battle that we're watching before we've caught. But what's happened here? Merchant has got through on Sajay. Oh, because he's gone off track.
That'd be turn 7 again, I would have thought. Straight on. No. Wow, a different crash.
On the exit.
On the
there.
power. Oh, it's that gravel.
Yep.
It's the gravel that Hop just brought onto the circuit. He spun on that gravel, very newly laid on the tarmac there, and that's given Merchant an extra place. By the way, by passing these two, Merchant could get himself an extra 5 points and extend his margin back out to 50. But that's only if he gets back past Elliott Court again.
I'm still wanting to see whether or not Fitzsimmons is going to be able... Oh, that gravel!
What?
Wow, did you see that? Just had to gingerly lift off. Look at the lock up in the front left as well too. This thing is on ice skates. It is difficult, and he's wanting to see if he can get himself a victory here. At this point, I would just, yeah, look at this. I would just coast it around, my friend. Look at the puddles now, Ewan, on the track. This would be red flagged if this was in real life conditions.
Yeah, you'd think, wouldn't you? You'd absolutely think so, especially given the sort of likelihood of red flags going up whenever there is rain these days in the real world. It's good that we've got iRacing and other sims to simulate what weather driving is actually like without the safety concerns that obviously come with real life racing. It's great to have in the virtual world these super difficult conditions. And by the way, just to give you an idea, you might think, well, it kind of looks the same all race, and to the untrained eye it does. But the best laps at the moment coming through, last time round was a 43.2 from Fitzsimmons. He's not going to do that again this time, I don't think. No, although he does catch on Callaway, who I think has been off in this most recent lap. Elliott Court also spins through turn 9. The best lap of the race is a 35.7. So even the best drivers are nearly 10 seconds off the best lap of the race so far.
Yeah, and that's not going to improve anytime soon either in these conditions. As absolutely called out there with dip shift, it is the track looks like a mirror. And that's just because there's puddles everywhere. And he's in it difficult. He's thankfully just moved off the racing line. You can see just to the right-hand side of the car where all those marbles are. But Elliott Court still, believe it or not, in P6. That's the thing, because the field's so spread out, Ewan. You've basically got a half spin up your sleeve, really, in this race, to your next opponent out there on the track. As Gareth McAllister's in too. He's hiding, actually, somewhere behind the...
Goodness me,
garage.
those people are not dressed for the conditions. Look at that.
Not.
The crowd there.
This is Gareth's big crash, I think, or another one. That was earlier.
Yeah.
He's had a recent one too for the Aussie. That's just, it's hard to get to see all the incidents. Oh,
that's quite a lot of damage for a small crash.
Track, and might have had another spin around here somewhere there. Yes. Bang. It's a lot of damage for a little love tap to the fence, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's more than a love tap, but it wasn't very hard contact, really, to do a lot of damage. As Elliott Court is having a real struggle now. Yep. Fabian Sanchez now behind him. Court has not come into the pit lane despite his recent troubles, and he's just continuing to lose places. Senave goes through now into 6th place, and Sanchez looks like he's going to follow as well.
Very difficult to also be following the cars, not to mention the spray, but you're wanting to kind of go off the racing line a little bit, try to get an overtake done, but you're also forcing yourself into uncharted territories in this boat of a track by doing it, where there's literally no dry line, as you can see, to follow either. So you're just going to chuck it in the corner there and hope she floats.
Fitzsimmons is off the road through turn 4. The gap is ever increasing to the race leader after Callaway's 49 a couple of laps ago. He's started to get that back under control again, and he's extended the lead now with a couple of Fitzsimmons mistakes. So Callaway looking ever more comfortable to maybe take the race win here from race 2, along with race 1 as well.
And what the drivers don't need to be on at the moment is they're pushed to pass, because it's going to be very dangerous to be deploying that extra power when you don't need it right now, as it's just going slower and slower, as you mentioned. Let's go those last laps that these drivers are doing. Last lap times currently at the moment, they're in the 44 clubs, at least for the leaders. 49s, 45s, 46s, 47s. Best times that they've done in this race so far, is 35s. So as you mentioned, that's the track evolution that's happened with the wet weather.
Yeah, we're 9 seconds slower than earlier. This is the danger now for Callaway.
Yep.
There could be quite a lot of lap traffic here, going very slowly as he gets to the end of this race. He's got to be very careful that he doesn't run into one of them, as James Meyer went off in front of him this time. This is turn 1, then into 2. Just gets away from him. Didn't really do a lot wrong there, but he gets away from him through the puddles. He did the right thing by reversing and rejoining at a better angle there instead of directly. But, you're always going to be nervous as a race leader there with somebody accelerating away from an incident like that.
Yep. That can happen anywhere on the track, anytime. And you just get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Elliot Court now. He's running 3 positions down in this race, but I wouldn't worry too much about gains and losses. If you want to get gains and losses, Adam Merchant, 17 positions gain. Fitzsimmons, 17 positions gain. Most of the rest of the field have only grabbed a couple positions or lost a ton.
Court is still behind Senave here. He's very close through the final sector, but not really close where he needs to be. On the front straight here towards turn number 1. This race, by the way, is so slow in speed. I'm slightly fearing we're not going to get all the laps in at the moment. Over the line for Callaway, still 6 to go right now, and only just over 7 minutes to do them. So I'm not sure we're going to get all the laps here because of the tremendously wet conditions. I mean, I'm amazed in that case that, the first race wasn't under more time constraint than it was, because that wasn't an issue at all. But, we're never going to get those 6 laps in 7 minutes.
No, we're not, actually. So that's a good catch out on that one. Jace Meyer goes into pit road, and a nice little battle behind him at the moment as Leo comes through out of pit road and straight into the save.
Oh dear. And Meyer actually gets through despite that pit stop. Jace Meyer goes straight through. I thought, and it's the thing with the wet weather conditions again. The turn 1 barrier is almost brought into play by the fact that it's wet, because you can lock up. You're just going straight on. There's no stopping speed. You need a parachute, really, rather than brakes. And you just go straight into turn 1. And Delmar did a very good job, actually. You notice how he turned the car in the gravel there to increase his stopping speed and avoid the wall.
That he did. We'll right on board and have a look at. And look, full lock up fronts. He does turn it, as you mentioned. But, good avoidance of the... Because once again, it's just a battle of keeping it... Just finish this race at the moment. And you do know, as you mentioned, it's only 6 minutes to go, so we don't think we get those laps in time. That's why I pulled up the full 45-minute clock timer that we have here this evening. We're 39 minutes into this. Callaway's going to be thinking that to himself as well, too, rather than the race distance here for laps. It's time-based now. Just bring it home. He's got to be thinking to himself, okay, 5 minutes now. That's all I need to do. Survive for 5 minutes. That's right. That's a Netflix new series here. It's called Drive to Survive for the League Zero Super Formula.
Just survive for 5 minutes. It's going to be 4 laps, so effectively they will get all laps but 1 in. But yeah, they won't get all 28 in tonight, unfortunately. As Elliot Court gets himself revitalised again and back onto Senave. It's been good in this wet weather racing, actually, that we've had battles to look at the whole way through. We've been racing for 40 minutes now in the second longer race of the day, and you always fear this, and I always say this with wet weather races in conditions like this. We've been very lucky here tonight that there's been battling the whole way through these 40 minutes.
I'm still impressed that we have... give or take, I'm just trying to keep an eye on how many drivers we have left. And that's, remember, you're going to gamble up the inside here. Get to get the traction down. Does, actually. So, Elliot Court up into P6. Just looking at how many drivers we have remaining in this race currently in a moment, you can see on the ticker only what appears to be 14 drivers remaining in this race.
Yeah, but although, having said that, I would go as far as say it's just 12, really, because McAllister's not going to get back out there, and
that's true.
Either is Bianchi.
Yeah.
It's just staying here as the admin, of course. So, yeah, there is only 12 realistically running as Callaway comes through the final corners, and it has been his day. Jaden Callaway is such a strong driver in the history of the League Zero Championships. He's our reigning champion. He was reigning champion for that championship season as well. He's won 2 in a row and 3 of the last 4. But the championship is becoming a long shot this year because of this man. Adam Merchant has done a very good job to come through the field and get to 4th place, up 17 places in race 2.
Yeah, and this is a little off-track excursion, which, no surprise, a few drivers have done that here this evening. Not a full turn. On a full flip, of a 360, just a a 180 or a 90 actually, sorry, and then keeps that one back in conditions. Just wondering how also how much battery would be saved up at the moment too for Callaway, wouldn't it? I'd imagine he's probably got a full bank there, and he's not going to be risking it, is he, for trying to get the fastest lap? It's just too wet to get the fastest lap now. You're not going to get down to those 36s that they did early on in the race.
No, you're never going to get there, even with all the push to pass in the world. So he may well do, as you say, and not actually use it at all. Still puzzled as to why he doesn't use it more in the middle of the races. I really think it cost him last week, but anyway,
I think so.
I'll continue to say that in vain, I think, for the foreseeable. But he's had a good night. If he ends the day 28 points closer to Merchant than he started the day, I think you could say it's a very successful day. But then again, he needs to go and do that another 2 times if he's going to overhaul that margin and take this race into a final race of the season. Don't forget that you need to be within 48 points, I think it is. 49 points. You need to be within 49 points at the start of the final race of the season. As he starts to use a bit of push to pass now, he is going to use it. You need to be within 49, and it does need to be 48 or less, because he's never going to win on countback, is Callaway. If he's going to win this, championship this season, and as I say, 28 points a night is exactly the sort of thing he needs to do. He needs to achieve.
Yep, he done everything that he can achieve on that one, and I think he gambled that with that push to pass. He's turned it off now. He said, "Nah, you're going to potentially throw away a victory here." Even though you got a 26-second gap down the road there to Fitzsimmons, there's also a possibility of severe damage to your car with just shy of a minute, just over a minute to go. I just want to be seeing Barney at this point. Look how dry it is in that cockpit too. I'd be sitting there going, "Oh, what rain? Oh, yes, I'm nice and warm and coasty in here."
I wonder if does the Halo protect you more from rain than the old open cockpits cars did? Maybe they do.
I imagine it might flick some off, but you would still be semi-soaked on that. No, of course, the racing suits.
I would have thought so. Fitzsimmons, by the way, Fitzsimmons is continuing to have trouble here in the end of this race. His gap's down to 5 seconds, and his early stop is maybe starting to cost him now. He only pitted on lap 5. Hopper's on 10-lap pressure tyres, and he's losing a lot of time. On the last lap, Fitzsimmons did a 1:50. Because he went off early in the lap, and I think he's done the same again. And Hop is knocking on the door here of maybe a second place finish.
Yeah, Demar just gets past as well too, but he's not going to have enough time. That's the only problem, isn't it? That he is catching. You'd mentioned because it's just going to be the last lap of the race now because it's 44 minutes.
I think this one that's just started will be the last lap of the race. Yeah, so it'll be a 27 lap race effectively rather than 29.
Just wondering if that checkered flag's going to come out now. Won't go to a white flag. Will it? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it's not too many often that we go to races.
It's going to end at the end of this lap.
Extend by time. Yeah, there it is. You're up.
Yeah, it's going to work as a normal timed race.
But you've got to hurt your helmet when you flick up.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. It's not ideal, but it's another one of those circuits where it happens quite regularly. We'll have another one of those at Monza, where it can be brought onto the circuit very easily as well. But there you go. Callaway now brings himself into the final corner. Well, the final corners, the final sector anyway. And he will cap off a very successful evening indeed. He's not taken all the bonus points tonight, but that's not really the crucial thing. He's taken the full 45 finishing position points, which is really what's crucial as he tries to chase down Adam Merchant and complete an unlikely turnaround in the final weeks of the League Zero Super Formula Championship. He'll come through the final turns now to take one of the biggest winning margins of the season in the rain at Barcelona, round the final corner, and he can celebrate a job well done this evening. But Callaway, he takes the checkered flag now, and he will win this race by over half a minute.
Yeah, to this man, Fitzsimmons. who's up 17. You'd have to say the absolute fantastic. Himself and Merchant, what a recovery drive to bring this home and steal as many points as they possibly can in the dying stages of this championship. Just those 2 more corners to navigate right there. Bingo. Job done there for Fitzsimmons. Well, third one here as well, if you want to count that exit. Also a great drive too, you'd have to say, for the Brazilian there, Gabriel. After running up the front there, of course, in that reverse grid, he still manages to bring it home as he's burning a bit of push to pass too. And of course, recovery drives from Mr. Adam Merchant as well. Up 17. He needed this one, Ewan.
He did, to just reduce the damage. He'll go into next week with a 50-point advantage. And if he extends that any further, he will be the champion next week, a week early. And Zuhair's going to get another top 5. It's 2 in one night for him. Not sure if he's done that before. He only had 2 before. Well, I guess not then. He only had 2 before tonight. So has doubled that tally in one day as Tazi Zuhair. We know that one of those was, of course, at Fuji, where maybe he did get both of his top 5s that night as well. But either way, he's certainly doubled it tonight with 5th position, finishing in race 2. Elliot Court's going to end with the fastest lap of the race, although that was set a very long time ago. A 1:35.7 has not been touched or even nearly touched for well, what feels like hours. Certainly laps and laps and laps, and since that lap time has been challenged, as also over the line today, rounds off the field at the end of tonight here from the League Zero Super Formula Championship. We can now have a look at the race results at the end of race number 2 here tonight. And a double victory for Jaden Callaway here at Barcelona. He finishes 32 seconds ahead of Finley Fitzsimmons, who holds on from Gabriel Hopp in the end quite narrowly. Adam Merchant and Soji Zuhair round out the top 5, with Elliot Court, Xavier Senave, the last drivers on the lead lap. Fabian Sanchez, Guillermo Paré and Jace Meyer rounded out the top 10, with Leo Delmat also a lap down with them. Aaron Gosler was the last driver to get to line 3 down, with Elliot Rolls retiring there late on with Gareth McAllister. Austin Thomas as well, who finished 15th ahead of Nicholas Isidro. Nick Pittston, Antonio Bianchi both retired on the same lap. Robert Nobles retired after his spin, along with John Stumbra, Anthony Zeitz and AJ Brenner, and Arturo Mayorga and James Turnbull, who didn't start. They were at the back end of the field in that one. Let's have a chat then to some of our podium drivers, starting with second place, Finley Fitzsimmons in race 2. Finn, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congrats on a drive through the field in race 2. But let's get the less good stuff out the way first. Race number 1 ended very, very early for yourself. Tell us your view on that incident.
Yeah, we eyeballed it. The track was drying out at the end of qualifying. There was a dry line starting to form, and the session jumps, I think, 10 minutes. So I thought it might have dried out a bit more and slicks might be a viable option. We thought the rain was going to come a bit later than it did in the end, but yeah, we took the slicks. Start was okay, it's the best we could have done, but just as soon as we went 3 wide, I was forced onto the wet curb, and then there was just no grip there, so didn't really have much choice.
And it gave you the opportunity to come through on a recovery drive. We're just watching a replay of the way you picked through the opening lap, but tell us about the race more generally in terms of the way you picked your way through, and also the strategy that you undertook by pitting so early.
Yeah, so we got front wing damage on lap 2 because they've crashed in front of us, and that was really hurting us and our pace. We were losing to Xavier and I think Sharji as well in front. So we knew it was just, we were going to stay in, I think, P7 or P8 for the rest of the race if we didn't make that choice. So obviously, you can't bank on other people crashing, so we decided to take the plunge and take the lap, the pit stop early, get the tyre change done, put a new front wing on. I think we lost about 20 seconds in the stop, so it wasn't ideal. But yeah, from then on, it was just getting into the rhythm, soldiering on. Of course, near to the end, I was basically racing on slicks. It was really difficult to keep it on the track, but overall, it was good fun. But definitely tricky out there, very soggy.
I was going to say, it definitely looked like you were suffering for that early pit stop bit late on, but you managed to hold on for second. Congrats on that run in race 2 tonight, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. Finley Fitzsimmons there, finishing in second place in race 2 tonight. Gabriel Hopp managed to finish in the top 5 on both occasions here tonight, and we can chat to him now as well. Gabriel, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on 2 top 5s tonight and a third place in race number 2. Tell us about those conditions tonight and just how you got on in the rain.
Yeah, so when I was like right behind Callaway in P2, I went like off because I was gonna blame the gravel on the track, but after that the rain got heavy and I did so many mistakes and I went off the track so many times. I hopefully didn't show up too many times in the broadcast, but that was bad. Yeah, I was not ready for such a heavy rain.
I'm afraid we did see you a couple of times, to be fair, off the circuit. So I apologise in advance for that. But yeah, it was a good run nevertheless. I mean, were you expecting the conditions to get quite this bad? Because by the end of the race, everybody was 10 seconds off their best lap time of the race in those final few laps. It seemed to be really difficult conditions.
Yeah. For me, it was like impossible. Well deserved for Jaden to like he pulled out like 50 seconds on me at the end of the race, and I like started that thinking I could win. But yeah, I need to practice a little more on heavy rain. But it was a good result. I'm happy.
Well, congratulations on that. And with that, by the way, you'll move into the top 10 in the series standings as well. So congrats on that. And thanks for coming to chat to us at the end tonight as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for the time here.
Thank you. That's Gabriel Hopp, who joins us tonight from third place in race number 2 and fourth place in race 1. A very successful evening overall for him. Jaden Callaway had the most successful evening of all. Unfortunately, he hasn't joined us to chat with us, and it doesn't look like he will. But yeah, a great evening for him, Biggles, in what has been by far the most difficult conditions of the season so far.
Yeah, himself and Merchant are probably wanting to jump into bed, mate, because it's getting close to 11 p.m. at night time, and after an exhausting, mentally exhausting race like that, it was certainly tough. And yep, exactly. Some good recovery drivers, but wow, I mean, that's wet weather conditions for you here at League Zero, my friend. Our first proper wet weather race, and we knew it was going to be difficult for the drivers, and hats off to those drivers that did manage to see the checkered flag here this evening.
Absolutely. All 12 of them who crossed the line on the circuit. And indeed, everybody who got quite a long way over the course of the race as well. The championship margin, though, between Callaway and Merchant will drop to just 50 points heading into next week's race, which comes to you live from Zandvoort. We'll be live same time, same place. Myself and Biggles bringing you live coverage of that one, of course, here in the League Zero Super Formula Championship. Thanks to everyone for chatting along and watching tonight. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Dean Biggles. Until we join you again at Zandvoort in 7 days' time, it's goodbye for now.